in a recent article in our paper, the Indian Express, you defended Major Gogoi for using a human shield in Kashmir. You wrote, and I quote, "Tough situations warrant tough reactions, and dangerous situations often, if not always, merit daring action." Now, Omar Abdullah, former chief minister, said that even if he had been a stone pelter, the human shield, the person who was used as a human shield, the army resorting to using an Indian citizen as a human shield is a moral and legal question that needs to be answered in congruence with the fundamental rights enshrined in our constitution, our laws, and the principles we have vowed to protect as a democratic nation.
You tell Omar Abdullah to come and face a crowd of 5,000 pelting people, and you ask a young major, a 26-year-old, I put myself in his place as a young officer, and my task has been given to go and bring out the polling party and the escort which they have of the CRP with them. I had two options. Either I shoot my way in and shoot my way out, or I do what this man did. So Umar Abdullah should go first and face those crowds and then talk.
But Captain Saab, they didn't just use the human shield to get themselves out of a sticky situation. They further paraded him through villages. They exhibited him through villages. So do you think that...
Kashmir is a very different type of situation. We've been seeing things happening there for a long time. I was there myself. I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago, from Hazrat Bal, the Prophet's hair was stolen. And we had a lot of trouble. I was then in the army. And we were there at that time. And it's when people get hysterical, and it's a very difficult way to handle it. And here is a young major, and he's done it to save his men and to complete his task. Had he come back and said, "Sorry, sir, they were throwing stones, I couldn't go there," he would have been court-martialed. What is the option for this youngster? And I think he did a great job, and I think we should give him a pat on the back. I met the chief yesterday, and I said, I'm very happy that you've given him a commendation. So it's a very good thing.
But to persist with this issue, Captain Saab, do you think you are speaking more as a soldier and less as a leader or a statesman?
What do you want me to say?
Do you because you wear several hats, are you wearing your soldier's hat when you say this?
I'm looking at myself in a similar situation and what I would do. And I think what Gogoi did was the right thing. You know, he's not a very, let's say, somebody who's come to the National Defense Academy or somewhere like that, who always come from some very high-sounding school's name. He's from the ranks. He was a Jawan in the Jack Rifles. And from there he was selected, he did his training, and he's there. And I think the initiative shown by that young officer was remarkable. And because normally, unless you come through the NDA or IMA or something, you normally stay back. But he's given a task, he's carried it out, and great.
What we are seeing also, Captain Saab, is that there is an extraordinary kind of state-sponsored glorification of the military right now. You put up a soldier in, advertisements that even have to do with tax compliance. You put up a soldier to take questions on surgical strike. The soldier and the figure of the military man is being used almost as an argument stopper. That now no criticism is allowed. Do you think there is a problem? And do you look around and do you get worried?
I think, no, I don't think there's a problem at all. I think, you must remember, have you any idea, I don't have the idea, but have you any idea of the number of boys who have been killed? All I know is every second day the television shows coffins coming down of people or somebody's injured. We look at one side of the story, we don't look at the other side of the story. And you don't realize that when you're sitting on top of a mountain and your mind tends to wander. And I know when I sat on top of a mountain, you always wonder as to how how things are. And I think it is absolutely essential to keep the soldiers' morale high. We have our western borders are not insecure. Our northern borders are insecure. Our eastern borders are insecure. So all around we have problems, and you have to keep the morale of your soldiers high. And I think if we promote our soldiers, if we allow youngsters to speak and their mind and all, I think it's a good thing. Let them speak.
Captain Saab, the Congress Party,
we are going to win the next election.
So you are famous for your plain speaking. So tell us, what is wrong with the Congress right
Nothing.
now? On almost everything, including
I'll tell you, you must remember, look at the history. You're talking now that, Congress has only got 44 seats. Well, BJP only had 2 seats. Yes. So these things happen. We're in an active democracy, a very sort of a vibrant democracy. And it's a good thing that this happens. It keeps political parties in check. If we've lost the election today, nobody can write us off in 19. It can happen. May happen the time after that, may happen in 19. But these are things that have happened. And I think there's nothing for us to feel that the Congress party is not going to make it. You were going to ask me now, is Rahul Gandhi up to it? Yes, he's up to it.
I don't know the questions. No, I'll ask you another question. So, do you think the Congress needs a fundamental overhaul? Or you think...
Our engine is running fine. Don't worry about us. We don't need an overhaul.
Do you think the Congress messed it up? Meera Kumar ended up being their Me Too candidate, Me Too Dalit candidate. They could have come out with her name before the BJP put up Ramnath Kovind, and they would have had an advantage then.
Well, yes, I think there's been a delay in her announcement, but that doesn't matter. I mean, like I've said, in my case, you said it, I didn't say it, but my announcement was made just a couple of days before. Yes. So I think maybe in due course things may change. But yes, if she had another month or two on her to campaign more, perhaps it would work. But I'm sure she'll do very well.
The Congress is expected to play the role of the primary pole in the opposition front. It is supposed to be the one that rallies together other parties, if it is going to do that, a sort of an anti-BJP front. But we've already had Nitish Kumar complaining that the Congress is inert, it doesn't show initiative, as in the presidential polls. You think the Congress is up to that role of gathering different parties with different and conflicting interests?
Why not? I mean, I just came for this Meera Ji's thing in the Lok Sabha the other day, and I saw all the parties there. Maybe Nitish was not there, but there were others. All of them were there. There was Yechury, Sitaram Yechury there. There was CPI there. There was you name them, and they were all there. So I don't think there was anything like that which is going to be an impediment. No.
When you look at the Modi government, you see a strong government, a strong-willed government. Do you look at the opposition and see a strong opposition today?
It's a question of having the numbers. When you have the numbers, you shout anyone down. This has become politics today, unfortunately. I remember my first tenure when Vajpayee ji used to speak, and we were in the Central Hall. He's a great speaker. And we used to all come in to listen to him speak. That was the time when there was debate. Now there's no debate. And if the congressman gets up to speak, all these fellows from BJP get up and shout everyone down. What are you going to speak? So, despite that, you see some nice speech. The other day, Scindia was making a great speech. I heard him on television. And I'm sure the other youngsters are also doing it. But, there should be some sort of a debate. Look what happened in the Punjab Assembly today. Aam Aadmi every day in the well, shouting, throwing files at the speaker, and the Akali Dal following suit with the same files being thrown at the speaker. I think the whole system seems to be very unfortunate.
Thank you very much, Captain Saab. It's been wonderful to talk to you.